Good morning. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we can. I'm going to go ahead and start. I guess by my watch it's 9 a.m. Dallas time. Good morning, good evening to you all. I do understand that some people are joining us abroad, so welcome to the graduate student orientation spring 2026. Sorry for the typo. By the way, my name is Cameron Kiasale. I'm the Associate Department Head for Graduate Studies, and I'm going to conduct this meeting. We will have several speakers here that will join as we go through the slides. First of all, please keep your microphone muted and also the camera off until the time that you need to ask a question. At the end of this presentation, we will have a question and answer period. So please hold on to your questions. If you need to post them, you can actually put them on the chat and we will respond to them accordingly. Now, if people who did not RSVP the web form, please write your name and email address in the chat box, so we have a record of you to send the orientation packet to you. And at the end of this meeting, which is being recorded, by the way, you will receive a transcription of the meeting as well as the slides and some key information. So please keep an eye for that material. Okay. This is the agenda that we're going to follow. We're going to go through the welcome message by Professor Dinesh Bhatia, our department head. And then we're going to talk about the International Student Scholar Office presentation. The ISSO is an important element of your graduate education here. If you're an international student, they will assist you with various issues related to your immigration and your status here in UTD. And then we will talk about Office of Graduate Education that oversees your degree, your graduate degree, master's or PhD degree. And then I will give an overview of the Johnson School. We will go through different study areas. Here again, there is another typo here. We do not have a TE program anymore, so it's EE and CE, if you're wondering. And we're going to go through different concentration areas. And then I'm going to go over the registration instruction and some other information about our program. Please pay close attention to the information that we will provide. This is important for you to be able to register for the spring 26. We will often see that people have not looked at the orientation or have not paid attention to some of the instructions that we are giving. These instructions can really help you with your studies here. We would like to have a very pleasant experience, and we want you to have a successful experience at UTD. So please pay attention to this information. So for the further ado, I'm going to introduce Professor Dinesh Bhatia, who is going to give you guys some remarks about our program. Dinesh?
Thank you, Professor Kiasale. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Good morning from Texas. And a very wonderful day to all of you from wherever you are. I understand there are quite a few future students for the ECE department that are international. I want to welcome you to the ECE department. We are a department that offers a diverse set of study options across several concentration or the modern areas that span from semiconductors, circuits, computing systems, power energy, signal systems, and then we also are now pretty aggressive towards applied machine learning with emphasis on AI-related applications. So when you are here, you will have the opportunity to work closely with what I call as the world-class faculty members And most of them, many of them are leaders in cutting edge research in, as well as have deep industry collaborations. Our curriculum in the department is very practical. So we believe in sound theoretical foundations, but at same time, I believe we prepare students for practical industry-driven careers also. So that basically leads to that we have well-equipped, modern, young, hands-on laboratories, design projects, and opportunities for internship. UT Dallas is proud to be one of the top institutions in the country for producing internship opportunities for students. So much about the department. You probably have already seen, heard, or read about UT Dallas. We are a very, very young university, little over 50 years old. We are ambitious and we are a rapidly growing. We are an R1 university, which means we are most research aggressive university. And we now actually starting this semester, fall of 25, we have a new President Prabhas Mogi. He joined us and he has been reinforcing all energy towards student success and technology-driven education and industrial connections. So that also gives you some view into the direction where the university is trying to move forward. Uh, and again, most likely you know that the university was built by technology leaders. The founders of Texas Instruments are also the founders of this university. So the technology is in the DNA of this institution. Uh, Students that are in the university, they benefit from innovation, collaboration across the disciplines. We do not have boundaries, so you have the ability to really go talk out to many people in many disciplines, including within the engineering and outside the engineering. And finally, I must say something which I really like. When you come in as a student, besides the education, besides the institution, there is a lot more other things that you learn, which I call learning by osmosis. And if you're coming to Dallas, it's a thriving technology hub. It is located in the heart of DFW tech corridor. So the university is geographically in the middle of the technology corridor, which is one of the largest and most active tech ecosystems in the United States. Uh, when we talk about companies like Texas Instruments, AT&T, Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, Toyota, Ericsson, Samsung, these are all, I would not say that they are in close proximity, but they are like within 2 to 3 miles driving distance from the university. The region is very, very strong in semiconductors, telecommunication, and definitely defense applications. So it produces a lot of opportunities for our students. And this is a city which has a wide population. It's a very multi-ethnic, uh, uh, very diverse city, gives lot of opportunities outside the academics in terms of what would be the cultural connections. So I hope that when you come to UTD, you will enjoy your education in the department. You will have fun time in the university. And most importantly, Dallas presents you something which is truly unique, a very large ecosystem where you can pretty much find whatever is of interest to you. So with that, welcome to UTD, welcome to the Johnson School, and welcome to the ECE department. I wish you very, very best in your academic endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you, Dinesh. So let's move on to the ISSO perspective. We have Grace here that is going to give you guys a few words about ISSO and your situation with your visa and other issues. Grace?
Hey, good morning, everyone. Thanks for having me. My name is Grace Chalker with the UT Dallas ISSO. I am in my third year as a DSO, and I'm really happy to talk to you guys about the process to, get your I-20 apply for the F1 visa. So at the UT Dallas ISSO, we actually specifically have a team that I'm on where we help prospective students. So wherever you're at in the process, if you haven't applied for the I-20, if you've already applied for the I-20, if you have any questions about that, definitely don't hesitate to reach out. But I'm more than happy to go over some of the fun stuff that y'all have to do in order to apply for the F1 visa. So let's see, if we could go to the next slide, please.
Sure.
Yeah. Awesome. So, so maybe some of you already have gone through the process to get your Form I-20. It's all done online through a portal called iComet. So during your time here at UT Dallas, F1 students are going to use the iComet portal for all of their immigration requests. So that very first immigration request you're going to submit is going to be that Form I-20. So the Form I-20 is a very important immigration document that you're going to use not just to apply for the F1 visa, but it's a form that's going to be constantly updated throughout your time here at UT Dallas. So the first thing to do is to log into iComet. You'll go onto the left side menu, click prospective students. You'll click on F1 initial I-20 request, and then you'll complete the e-form. There's a couple of documents that you do have to submit. So if y'all have any questions about those, that link right there, definitely check it out. So whenever your Form I-20 is ready, it's going to be issued electronically to your UT Dallas email. So you'll be able to access that immediately whenever it's sent to you. So definitely take a look at your I-20, make sure that everything is okay. So like your name, date of birth, country of birth, the school information. Sometimes the major listed on your I-20 might not exactly match up with the name that UT Dallas has. That's okay. But if you're ever unsure about it, definitely don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're more than happy to answer your questions. So next, you'll take the Form I-20 and you're going to pay the I-901 CVIS fee. This is a very important fee that goes towards the maintenance of the CVIS system where the I-20 is created and maintained. Once you do that, complete a Form DS-160 to schedule your visa interview. If you have not managed to schedule a visa interview yet, I have heard from many students that visa interviews are still really hard to come by. So if you're in a situation where you're sort of on the fence, or if you haven't completed that DS-160 yet, definitely do so as soon as possible. The sooner you get your Form I-20, the sooner you complete your DS-160, the sooner you'll be able to schedule that F1 visa interview and hopefully start your classes for spring 26. And we also have specific advising services for students preparing for the F1 visa interview. We do one-on-one mock visa interviews on Tuesday. You can sign up for an advising appointment online through our webpage. So definitely feel free to, utilize that resource that is available to you. All righty. So, oh yes, like I mentioned before, so we've got our mock visa interview prep, and in addition to those one-on-one services that we offer, we also have some resources on there as well. So a list of commonly asked questions. Be prepared to answer questions about your academic history, especially if you're coming in for your master's degree. They are going to probably ask you questions about what did you study in your undergrad, what do you want to study at UT Dallas. The finances are an important aspect of the interview process. So be prepared to answer questions about if someone's sponsoring your education, what's your relationship with their sponsor? Are their funds stable? Is the visa officer confident that you can support yourself throughout the duration of your program? So definitely, again, don't hesitate to check out those resources. We're more than happy to connect with you and schedule a one-on-one appointment. All right. And at that appointment, 3 things to keep in mind is you want to be honest. So, the consular officers, are expecting students to be honest in their answers. Be confident. If you sound a little bit too nervous, perhaps maybe the consular officers are trained to read body language. They can sometimes take students being too nervous as a red flag, and it could potentially impact your visa interview negatively. The third thing is to communicate clearly. So I feel like with the students that I've talked to, sometimes some students feel a little bit uncertain about how to phrase things. So again, if that's something that you struggle with, definitely don't hesitate to schedule a one-on-one appointment with me. I also have my other awesome coworkers who work over here would also be happy to help you guys out as well. All right. So, all right, you got your Form I-20, you got your F1 visa. Now it's time for you to, come to the United States. But something to keep in mind is you can only arrive in the United States 30 days before the program start date on your I-20. So for spring arriving students who are coming for spring 2026, the earliest date of arrival into the United States is going to be December the 21st. This information is also going to appear on page 1 of your I-20. It's going to say earliest admission date. So whenever you arrive in the US, you're going to go through Customs and Border Patrol, or CBP. So CBP officers are probably going to ask you some questions similar to what they asked at your visa interview. So where are you studying? How long will you be here? Who's financially supporting your studies? Very important, your passport and your Form I-20, definitely keep those on your person whenever you are traveling. Don't put them in any kind of checked baggage. Put it in your personal item, because you will need to present these documents to the CBP officer. And double check and make sure that you have signed your Form I-20 on page 1 under student attestation. Whenever you get through CBP, there's going to be a very important immigration document that is created for you. It's called an I-94. So this is a form that CBP makes. It is an important immigration document that you will have to, please send a copy to our office as part of our new student check-in. Definitely check the information on your I-94. Sometimes there can be issues with, formatting of names. Sometimes date of birth might get misentered. So definitely double check that information before you leave the airport, because you can only really get this information corrected at the airport. And DFW International is unfortunately a little bit of a drive away from here. I would say it's about, maybe on a good day, it's maybe about 35, 40 minutes drive. So definitely just something to keep in mind. If you're really tired after your flight, I understand. But if you take that extra little bit of time to correct anything before leaving, you can save yourself, a lot of trouble in the future. All righty. So if you are ready to register for classes, definitely check for holds in your Galaxy. And it should say which department has what hold on there. Sometimes holds might prevent you from registering for classes, but some students are able to register before they arrive in the United States. So definitely feel free to, check out those holds and coordinate with any departments regarding those holds. If you encounter a situation where you feel like you might not make it for the spring 2026 semester, definitely keep an eye on those drop deadlines. Those are available on the academic calendar. So definitely, if you've already registered for classes, but spring 26 might not work out for you, definitely communicate with our office and drop your classes, because if you don't drop your classes by a certain date, you will be financially responsible for them. And that would be kind of an unfortunate situation. All righty. So F1 students, y'all have an enrollment requirement to maintain your F1 status. So each long semester, so fall and spring semester, students need to be enrolled in full-time, so minimum full-time enrollment. Down below in that table, we've got it broken up for undergraduate and graduate. I assume perhaps most of y'all are graduate students, but for our undergrad students, 12 credit hours each fall and spring semester is your minimum full-time enrollment. For our graduate students, 9 credit hours each fall and spring semester is your minimum enrollment requirement. And of these credit hours, one course, so 3 credit hours, can be an online course. So as long as you are, meeting most of your face-to-face requirements in those other credit hours, you can take the rest online. But if you have any questions about class enrollment and your F1 status, do not hesitate to reach out to the ISSO. All righty. So whenever you do arrive, there's going to be a couple of things that you will need to take care of. So for the ISSO side, for our F1 students, we have a process called new student check-in. This fulfills the report to school requirement. So the first thing to do is definitely update your Galaxy with your new local address and phone number. It is okay if you at first have temporary accommodations. You can put in a temporary address at first. After you move into more permanent residence, update our office of your new address within 10 days of your move so we can update it in the SEVIS system. You will need to attend the Maintaining F1 Status workshop. We should have dates for spring 2026 available sometime next week, so definitely keep an eye on your UTD email for updates from our office regarding that. And then you're going to submit the new student check-in e-form in iCommit. So thank you guys so much for having me. Here's a link where you can come check us out, connect with us one-on-one. We also have live chat and email and other ways to get in contact with us. So thanks again, guys, for having me. I hope we get to see you for spring 26.
Thank you, Grace. I just have one housekeeping issue. Somehow my camera, I can't see. Are you able to see the speakers video as they unmute themselves? Anybody can answer.
Yes.
So you can see me and you can say others because somehow my machine, I'm not able to see the speakers. But anyway, so very useful information. Please pay close attention to what Grace said. Also, Grace brought up a couple of issues about holds and registration. And this is something that throughout this presentation we will address. And you do need to remove those holds for some time for registration. Some of them cannot be done until you're here, but for most of them can be removed if you have gone through this presentation. For instance, that's one of the holds attending the orientation. Now, if anybody misses the orientation, they can still view it, and that will count as observing the or going through the orientation, so that they can remove that hold on their record. So. All right, so let's get on with the other issues. The Office of Graduate Education. I want you folks to be familiar with this group of people. They deal with many things related to your studies. They are the ones that look over your degree plans, your graduation request. Occasionally you will have to deal with them in that situation, but mostly you will deal with us, with our degree planners that look over your degree plans. I will introduce them later on. I think they're here to discuss that. But so they have a very interesting function, as you can tell. Just skip one slide. And the Dean of Graduate Education is Professor Juan Gonzalez, and he has a staff under him that deal with various issues related to the graduate education. So you can see that this ranges from TA and RA, teaching assistant, research assistant procedures and policies, to the way dissertations are done, the way the master thesis is done, and as well as helping you with some of the issues related to your studies here. I would encourage you to use this page, especially these links, to go over that, go over all the procedures. One of the things that I will point out, and I don't know how many folks here are PhD students, is that you have to have a close relationship with OGE and also have your there is a links available here that you need to be studying because there are multiple steps in your graduate education, especially if you're a PhD student, that you need to follow. We will try to help you there. Your advisor tries to help you there, but you cannot just ignore these deadlines and other procedures that Office of Graduate Education has mandated. And let me make that clear. I go through that at the end, dealing with the PhD students. But as you're going through your PhD studies, there are steps that you need to follow. And if you miss them, sometimes that can delay your graduation. It can have serious consequences in terms of some people do not have funding to go beyond maybe the time that they had planned to be here. So it creates a lot of problems for us and for you, particularly for you. And so I want you to pay attention to this and visit this website. Take a look at the procedures that they describe, read through the documents that they have. There's a lot of useful information on their website. So please take a look. Okay, so here is other ways of reaching them from Twitter all the way to Facebook. So please do that. Okay, so let me go overview of the graduate program. Department administration consists of myself, Professor Nafal Al-Dahir, who deals with undergraduate education studies, and Dr. Nosratinia, that deals with the class scheduling. By the way, this was by knowing it was not intentional, but I didn't have a color picture of the other folks, so there's nothing here about my picture being color. We have a Johnson School has leaders here that you need to be aware of. Dr. Stephanie Adams is the dean of the Johnson School. This is ECS, not ECE, ECS. Professor Boris Balsara is a vice dean, and Professor Joshua Summers deals with the undergraduate education in ACS. On the university level, as Dinesh pointed out, we have a new president, Professor Dr. Prabhas Moge. Dr. Inga Musselman is the provost. Dr. Juan Gonzalez, as we pointed out, is the dean of graduate studies. And Ms. Josephine Vita is the director of international student services. So let's talk about our mission of our program. Now, a lot of folks have mission statements, but I want you guys to go through this and read it. And we actually mean this, and we have tried to do this throughout the years that I have been with UTD. I joined UTD in 1987, perhaps before some of you were born. I've been with UTD for 37 years, 38 years. And I've seen this university go from being a very small institution, which essentially was a graduate studies type institution. And it grew to developing undergraduate, which is kind of an unusual growth because most universities start with the undergraduate program and then grow to the graduate. But we have seen the university grow tremendously and where it's achieved. And I would say that one reason that we are being successful is that we are really dedicated to this picture, to this mission. And we are truly educating our students to be leaders in their field, in the field of electrical engineering, which is very diverse, say the least. You're called electrical or computer engineering student, but you'll be doing work or research or studies in a variety of different areas that average person out there does not correspond to the engineering or electrical engineering for that matter. So we are a very multidisciplinary department as well. We have students that are getting supervised by faculty in other departments who are affiliation with our department, from mechanical to biomedical engineering to material science. But this statement is actually is our goal. So we try to be true to this cause. And you will find out when you're here, and I'm really hoping that you choose to join UTD for your graduate studies, which is a very rewarding experience. In the area of electrical engineering, we have 5 concentrations. As you can tell, this is fairly diverse from circuits, computing system, devices, power electronic, and signal and system. Now, you might see that, for instance, communication is missing. It's not as part of a signal and system. So we have from system all the way to devices. And one of the things that you will have to do, and perhaps you haven't thought about this, and that's why this orientation is very important, is to choose a concentration for yourself. Do not get nervous about it. It's not something that you have to do today, but as we go through this orientation, you will learn more about these concentrations and what they do and what they cover. And once you're comfortable with the area you want to get into, then you work with your advisors to choose the degree plan for yourself and then register for classes. So, and throughout this presentation, you're going to get to hear from some of your advisors that are going to help you with your degree plan. So I'm going to start, I think it's Randy's here. Randy, are you going to make presentation or is it
Yes.
to you?
Yes.
Okay. So we have Professor Randy Lehman. He is one of our advisors, and he's going to tell us about these different areas. Randy?
Thank you, Dr. Chiasali. Yes, so let's talk about the 5 concentrations in electrical engineering. First one we're going to discuss is circuits. It's fairly wide-ranging application space here. So you can see some of the focus on this slide: design, analysis. We cover both devices, circuit systems, and there are 3 core classes that we want you to take as part of the circuits concentration if you choose this. So you see those there. VLSI design, analog integrated circuit design, and RF and microwave circuits. So each of you would be required to take those 3 courses, and then you can take 7 electives. So we have a wide range of electives. Some of them are listed there at the bottom of this first slide, but it covers many different areas, and you get to choose your electives from any of those other concentrations. Okay, next slide gives us a little bit of a perspective of how wide-ranging the companies are that you can start your career and maybe even finish your career with these companies. So both our professors, our research are engaged with a number of different areas, so lots of opportunities, and you'll recognize many of those names that are on there. So, okay, next please. Another strong area is in devices. There's much interest in this, a lot of funding from the US government lately in terms of trying to improve our position in semiconductors. So this is an area that many students like to pursue. In this case, we've got 3 core courses also: fields and waves, quantum, physical electronics, and semiconductor processing technology. Again, a number of electives to go with those, but everyone is required to take those if you're in the device area. And the next slide tells us much of the areas in terms of research going on. We have very strong research professors in all of these concentrations. And here are a few that talks about carbon nanotubes, MEMS, biomedical devices, sensors, plasma science, semiconductor device modeling. Many things that if you're interested in the research part of it, and as well as just the courses that are associated with this, apply to a number of those companies that you see on the screen as well. Next, we have power electronics and energy systems, a very popular area, up and coming in terms of our growth at our university. We have 3 core courses in this discipline as well: power electronics, general theory of electric machines, and control, modeling, and simulation in power electronics. This is an area that you'll find covers another wide range of power electronics in terms of both trying to find efficient machines for efficient motors, if you will, for especially transportation applications, electric vehicles, but also wind energy and many other things that we're going to talk about on the next slide. Here are 4 major areas in this area for research. So you see the first one is primarily for electric hybrid vehicles and the associated technology there. Distributed power generation, solar, wind energy, energy management. There's energy harvesting, something that's very popular in a number of the semiconductor companies. How can we extract energy just from, say, the movement of our bodies or other things that are in motion? So very interesting area. And then finally, electric machines, trying to improve the ability to have high efficiency motors in our cars and vehicles. Signals and systems. As Dr. Chiasali had mentioned, this is where our communications emphasis is. There are many different areas here. We have a strong faculty in this area. In this case, we require 3 core courses on your degree plan if you choose signals and systems. 1 core course is absolutely required. It's probability, random variables, and statistics. And then you can choose 2 of these following 3 that are on the list: linear systems, digital communication systems, or digital signal processing. Again, you may use any of these as an elective as well if you don't choose to use it as a core class on your degree plan. But there's, again, a number of different electives that you can apply to your degree plan for this. In the area of signals and systems, you see here we have 14 faculty members, a very large area that covers a very diverse part of research as well as classes. It includes communications, wireless communications, communication networks, information theory, signal processing, speech processing, image processing, and machine learning. So very popular areas in this age of just processing huge amounts of data. If you're interested in more of the information on the research facilities, you can click on this link and you can see some of the research that are listed here. Just, again, a wide number of and availability of research in this area. And finally, the 5th area is computing system. So in this case, we have 3 core courses: advanced digital logic, computer architecture, and microprocessor systems. If you are interested in this digital area, right, digital computing, edge computing, embedded systems, this might be the area for you. Again, it's also a very popular concentration for us. And again, many different opportunities for both elective courses as well as research. So I'm going to turn this over to whoever is going to be doing computer engineering. And let me say one final thing. Myself and Professor Hines will be serving as academic advisors for the EE concentration. So if you're an MSEE, you'll be talking with one of us. So look forward to meeting with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy. And later on, we will talk about all this process of registration. So Professor Lehman as well as Professor Hines play a key role in getting you registered for EE concentration for those who are in EE. Is Marco there?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. So we have Professor Marco Taka. He's going to talk about the computer engineering program.
So computer engineering, the structure is very similar to EE in terms of what you need to do. So all you need to take a total of 10 courses plus what we call experiential learning courses. And the courses are organized in different groups. There are core classes. So for everybody in CE, the core classes are the same and are these 3 classes: embedded system, computer architecture, and applied data structures and algorithms. And then depending on which electives you want to pick, you can choose 3 different tracks. You can be in the applied machine learning track, embedded and VLSI system, or non-track, which essentially gives you a generic CE degree where you have a little bit more freedom to choose which courses you want. And the requirement, if you are in the applied machine learning track, the requirement is that you need to pick at least 3 classes out of the list, and the list of these classes available in these slides, as well as on the UTD catalog page, as well as the ECE department page. So you can find those easily. One thing to pay attention there is that out of the list for applied machine learning track, out of the list, you cannot, there is a significant overlap between CS 6375 and ESC 6364. So if you go in the direction of the track, please be mindful that only you can pick one or the other, but not both can be counted for credit. The other maybe interesting thing is that that you can see from this list is that CE is a very highly interdisciplinary type of degree. So you see there that not all the classes, all the core classes had a CE type of prefix. Electives, you see there that they are from CS, from HE, from CE. So they can be from various departments. And that brings to a kind of, so you have a lot of freedom, but with freedom there are potential dangers. So be mindful that not necessarily all classes, for example, in CS can be counted towards your C degree. So it's very important that you consult with your advisor. I'm one of them. Dr. Turaj Nikubin is the other. And make sure that the classes that you want to take will count. Then you don't want to be in a situation where you think you're ready to graduate and then you find out that one of the classes doesn't count. And that's the degree, how the degree plan is set up. So you have, as we were saying, the 3 courses, then you have the department elective courses, and then that block is the one that essentially needs to be consistent with your selection of applied machine learning, embedded in VLSI or none. Then you have 2 electives that where you have a little bit more freedom to pick. Again, that doesn't mean any possible course that is offered at UTD, always consult with your advisor. And that gives the 10 traditional classes that you go to class, you take notes, go through exams, so on and so forth. In addition to that, you have an extra requirement, which is these experiential classes, which are classes that are 0 credits. They don't have the traditional exam, taking notes, quizzes, all of that. They are classes, courses that can be counted there are internship, attending seminars. That there is a very wide range and very a lot of seminars throughout the semesters, and you need to do some combination of those. So, seminars, internships, possibly independent research hours if you are on a thesis track, so on and so forth. So essentially, to graduate, you need 10 classes plus 2 experiential courses.
Okay. Thank you, Marco.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, so I'm sure that you are getting a lot of information, and we'll repeat this throughout this presentation, so for you to become quite familiar. I just want to bring to your attention a couple of things. If you look at this degree plan, you can see that at the bottom you have to sign, and there's a signature for advisor. This is a relationship between you and the advisor. You need to have a close relationship with your advisor as you take classes. Now, there is the way our program is set up. You have to do a initial degree plan to register. You cannot register without that. So you have to meet with your advisor and for the first semester and then get the signature. And then for the subsequent semesters, you can register on your own. All right. And this is very important. I repeat this again and again. Do that with the blessing of your advisor. We have seen the students who go out and take classes on their own, and then once they come to the last semester trying to graduate, and then they have told their family to fly over here for the graduation, and they go in to do their final degree plan, only realizing that some of the courses they have taken does not count, or some of them do not count. And this is a very common problem. We are giving you a lot of freedom, but with that comes responsibility. Please work with your advisor as you're revising your degree plans throughout the semesters you are here. So, and this will become clear for all the disciplines. So, all right. So, and then it's a registration form that you can download and you can get to your advisor and you have to sign it, and then you can be registered. Now, this is again for the first semester. For the subsequent semesters, you can register on your own without going through this process, but I would encourage you to deal with your advisor. So one of the things that you have to do is to request an in-person meeting with your advisors. And we're going to talk about who's those advisors and how you find them. Now, I would highly recommend that you look at our degrees and degree plans, look at the concentration areas. We would love to help you with choosing a concentration area, but we'd like you to have a very educated approach here. Read about these concentrations, see what resonates with you, which concentration area, in your opinion, is going to be helpful with your career before you meet with your advisor. Your advisors are busy people, they are faculty, they have a lot of other responsibilities. They can't just meet when you're not ready. So please do some homework ahead of time. Now, the options that you have for your master's degree is either, as we said, non-thesis or even thesis option. And then for the non-thesis option, you have 2 courses in concentration. We have a minimum of, we have 2 concentration and actually 3 because non is a concentration area as well. And then you have to take 30 semester credit hours, which amounts to core classes versus the electives. I want to point out that the core classes are very important and are prerequisite to many of the electives. So I do understand you like to exercise your choice of taking classes that is of interest to you, but I would highly recommend that you get your core classes out of the way first before you venture into all the electives. And I'm not saying that's not possible, but please focus on getting your core classes out of the, done first. Another thing that I want to point out is experiential learning that was added later on to our program. It's either seminar, as Professor Taka pointed out, it's either a seminar that you attend seminars, you register for it. You don't pay for it because of 0 semesters credit hour, but you do need this to graduate. You can either do that or when you're doing internship, please register for CE 7010 or EGR 7010. You need to register for that. Just going on internship and telling us later that you have done that is not good enough to get credit for it, right? So please pay attention to that. There is a thesis option for our program. And again, by the way, these slides were revised, but I don't know why is it that I do not have it here. We don't have a TE program anymore. So for E and C, you have a number of hours that you have to do as your core courses or required courses, but you can also take 3 hours of thesis, 3 hours of research, and 3 hours of independent study. So technically, you can take 9 semester credit hour on research to write a thesis. Now, it is very important to point out, just taking classes is not good enough to get a thesis option done. You do need to write a thesis. So this takes some of your classes out of the picture. Your core classes remain the same, but your electives are going to be different. In this case, your electives can be research and independent study and then thesis hours. Okay, so for the MS degree, remember that you have to follow the graduate catalog. We follow whatever is published. An important point is to maintain a GPA of 3.0. And this occasionally causes problem. If you have a GPA less than 3.0, and by the way, 3.0 means no grade less than a B. All right, that's the difference between graduate and undergraduate education. You can graduate and get your BS degree with a GPA of 2.0, but you can't do that in the graduate program. So the passing grade technically is a B, not even a B minus. B minus falls into the below 3.0. And if your semester turns out to be such that you go under 3.0, you will get 3 chances to raise your GPA. And if you don't, you'll be expelled from the university. Also, you can't graduate with a GPA less than 3.0. I'm sure that most of you are dedicated and you are going to spend the time to study, but please be aware of that fact. Some of the students, because of a change in environment, coming to a new country, and then not being familiar with situations, they let their GPA drop, and that can have a serious consequence. And by the way, these are university policies, not the ECE or ECS policy. So if your GPA goes below 3.0, university would not grant you a degree. And then we will also, as we mentioned, the e-graduate program does an audit of your degree plan. So you have to make sure that you work on your degree plan with your advisors and with your degree planner to make sure everything is okay. And then choosing your class very carefully is to maximize your learning, but also to meet the basic requirements. As you saw, we have flexibility in our degree. You're taking 3 classes in EE for your core, and the rest is going to be electives. So we like you to explore different areas. Also, as you notice in the degree plan, there was a ECS elective. So you not only you can take the courses in our department, but also you can take it in other departments, especially for CE. Now, I want to give a word of warning. As you saw, that you can take up to 3 classes from CS. Now, computer engineering has a lot of commonality with computer science, but it's not a computer science degree. So for your ECS electives, I highly recommend that you take courses in other areas. Computer engineers work in a variety of different fields. They may even work with mechanical engineers or work with the biomedical engineers. So expand your horizon. I've seen degree plans that people have 5 CS classes, and this is almost beginning to look like a CS degree. That's not the intention of the CE program. It's far broader perspective that the CE program has. So please bear that in mind as you're working on your degree plan. There are official rules of university, UTD PP 1052. Please read it, go through it at least once to kind of learn about this. Learn about the policies of the university and what you need to be doing. We just already went through this, so I'm just going to skip this. I just put this is a very busy slide. It's like an eye chart. You have all different concentrations with their core classes and electives. And you can see that for EE, you have 1 ECS elective. For CE, you have 2. So you have a bigger number of courses that you can take outside of the ECE department. By the way, those ECS electives can be EE. So if you're a CE major and you want to take 2 classes in EE, please do so. Now, having said that, we have a prerequisite structure. And in order to figure out what it is, you can basically Google the name of the course that you're interested in. And the catalog will come up on a Google search, and it will tell you what is the prerequisites. One of the issues is that people in CE trying to take EE classes or vice versa, or they run into the problem of not having the prerequisite. So plan your degree plans very carefully so you don't run into the prerequisite structure. Okay. I want to talk about PhD students, as some of you probably are. Here are PhD students. You have 75 semester credit hours that beyond bachelor's you have to complete. If you have a master's degree already, you can transfer 30 hours directly, and then free dissertation credit can be used. A PhD admission is a slightly different than a master's admission. If you're a master's student, you get admitted, you come here, you do take your classes, you attend for your classes, and you get your diploma and you go on your merry way. On a PhD side, it is a research degree, and you need to work with a research advisor. Now, I don't know how many PhD students are here. If you have not had a chance to go to the website for the faculty who's doing research in the area of interest, do that today. You need to find a research advisor. An admission to the PhD program, unfortunately, does not mean that we will find an advisor for you. This is the work that you need to be doing. And the relationship between a student and a advisor in this case is a very strong relationship, is a relationship that goes over 4 years. Your PhD advisor is going to supervise you on your PhD dissertation journey. So it's very important that you find someone that you can work with and get to know that advisor. Now, if you haven't identified an advisor, you still have time. And also, even if you don't have an advisor, cannot identify one, I serve as your advisor for the first semester until you find an advisor that will supervise you. So that means that it should not stop you from proceeding with your PhD studies, but I really highly recommend that you spend some time looking at our faculty, which have a diverse area of research. And we have many faculty that do research in a single area. So you have a large number of faculty to choose from. And that's a very important part of your studies. The other part is the qualifying exam. And this is a very important part because your admission to the PhD is conditional. It conditions on you passing your qualifying exam. And qualifying exam, exactly what it means. It basically tries to determine if you are a PhD student or not. And there is nothing wrong with that. There are people out there who are perfectly good engineers. They can do master's degree very well, but they are not really PhD students, meaning that they do not have the basic characteristics to do research. And research is not for everyone. Certain people do not like research, and that's all comes through this qualifying exam. Our qualifying exam is not the hardest one compared to some other universities that you're out there. You take 2 classes, and then these classes you have to score B+ or better. These 2 classes are determined by you and your advisor, the classes that can help you with your research. And then you go through a second part, which is a presentation part. You will read a paper. You will make it a public presentation about that paper. Sounds simple, but it's not really, because reading a single research article does not mean that your knowledge should be limited to that paper. You need to know every aspect of that paper, so that means you may have to go on and study all the references. So you have some time to do this. You have 3 semesters to complete this exam. If you are a student that came here at the PhD but do not have a master's degree, you have 4 semesters to do that. And you can get 2 attempts to do this. And very often students postpone this exam to the last semester. In other words, they want to do their oral defense on the 3rd semester they're here. That's really a bad idea, because if they fail, they do not get a second chance. They have reached their limit of 3 semesters. So my suggestion is that the moment you're here as a PhD student, think about what you're going to do with your oral presentation. Work with your advisor and take the exam in the 2nd semester you're here. And in case if it doesn't go well, you can just have another extra semester to deal with that. Okay. One point about the PhD admission: if you're here as a PhD student and do not have a master's, that does not mean that you that you can continue with research without doing coursework. you do need to complete 30 semester credit hour of coursework. So in a sense, you're earning a master's degree while you're doing your PhD. And yes, the answer to if you have that question, can I get a master's degree while I'm doing my PhD? The answer to that is yes. So at the end of your studies, you're going to get a PhD as well as a master's degree. Now, with advisor's consent, you can take these courses, research and dissertation. So once you have advisor has agreed to supervise you, every semester you can go register under that professor, and you need to sign up for these classes according to this. Dissertation, you do it in the last semester where you're defending your dissertation, and you do it once. But for research, you'll be doing research every semester. And in many cases, you have multiple semesters that you will register for this research hours. For PhD dissertation, there are two other steps. One is to completion of a proposal defense and then dissertation defense. You basically have to have a committee that looks over the research that you're trying to do and approve it. And then finally, you do your research and you present. I have a couple of slides here that gives a timeline. I'm not going to go through all of it. I'm just going to show you, and please go through it as you get your slides. These slides will be emailed to you, as well as the video. Go through the steps. Go look at what needs to be done. There's a timeline here, gone through the first year, what happens in the first year, as well as other years. And this is very helpful. I found students expedite their PhD work by following this guideline. So, and you can see that there's always something to do in every year you are here. And then it seems like I have kind of indicating that you have to get your degree in 4 or 5 years. PhD dissertation is really up to you and your advisor. If you are making a significant progress, you can graduate in a shorter amount of time. We have seen people as little as 3 years to graduate, and we have seen people as long as 9 years or 8 years. And this again depends on the student. There are limits to this. You need to get your degree within, I think, 8 years of your studies here. Beyond that, university will not allow you to continue. But can you get your PhD in 3 years or 2 years? It all depends on what you can accomplish in that period of time. Have you done a significant research and you have results that are worthy of publication in major international journals or conferences, and you had demonstrate that you have contributed to the field of science that you're pursuing? So it is very much dependent on you and your advisor and the accomplishments that you have achieved. And again, I want to point out to PhD students who are here, PhD degree is a degree that is very visible. When you get your degree, you get a master's degree, for instance, well, you have a GPA that associated with your degree, and then maybe your employer will ask you to look at your transcript or just look at your GPA, but mostly they don't. For the case of PhD, you publish your work, and this is an international stage. So a PhD from MIT, a PhD from us, or PhD from another university, they have almost a level playing field. So you can get your PhD here, and people are not going to look at what degree is from. They look at what kind of work you have accomplished. And this is completely in the world stage. These days, everything is published, everything available online. So people can read about your work and your contribution. So, and the reason I'm mentioning this because I want you to spend a good amount of time identifying a faculty that you can work with, that can, you can go to great places with that person. Very often, students choose a PhD advisor based on funding, and which is, I understand, you do need funding, but this is a lifetime commitment. Most people, I mean, you may find exceptions, get one PhD, not two, not three, not four. So this is going to be with you for the rest of your life. So choose carefully, and that's my point, really. Okay, and then there are issues with the voting ceremony. Please follow all the procedures. Office of Graduate Education observes this, but also Registrar and Office of Graduate Education, they have hard deadlines. You miss those deadlines, you may actually not be able to graduate. And this could be devastating for somebody who doesn't have funding beyond fourth year. That means they have to hang around here or take some classes because immigration would not allow you to just be here and not taking classes. And that's going to cost you quite a bit of money. So follow the procedures. Okay. Any questions up to this point? If you have any questions, you can actually unmute your microphone and ask. Okay, so let's talk about course registration. And I don't understand why this slide says fall 25. This is a spring 26. But first of all, you have to go through the acknowledgement of policies form. Without that, we cannot proceed. And registration process, you go through the course book, you find out the class that you want to take, and then you register accordingly. Now, there are registration form here in this, either you can look at it online from our website, or you can go to these links and you actually can download them and fill them out. And then you will email them to EE grad office for registration. For PhD and master students, PhD students, we work with you through advisors to register you. So, okay, the important slide. Here are the pictures and the coordinates of E and C advisors. Please look at the last, I guess the first letter of your last name, and that would determine who is your advisor. Okay, so, and do not randomly contact anybody. Just these are the people that you have to work with. These are the people that you have to make an appointment with in order to register. Okay, and I'm going to leave this up for a second for you to take down any information you need. Okay, so you also have three people that you may be familiar with. One of them, Ms. Patricia Williams. She deals with admissions and all your forms and whatever else that you have submitted for admission. And by the way, you do need to submit your official documents before you start here. So please bear that in mind. We also have our degree plans and planners, Joshua Sforza and Kimberly High. I don't know if they're here. If they're here, you can unmute your, you can turn on your camera and say hello to everyone. Joshua already did, right?
Yep,
I can't see you, so I don't know. Okay. Thank you, Joshua. Is Kimberly here?
Yes, good morning and welcome.
Right. Thank you, guys. So as you can see, this depends on your last name. And these are the folks that are going to take care of you. And you deal with the degree plan. They are helping you with the degree plan, also with your registration. So please bear in mind as you're doing your degree plan, and then you're trying to say, who do I contact? Well, these are the people you contact. All right. Okay, so I think we talked about the registration form. I want to just show you the classes that we are offering. Now, we talked about our degree plan having core classes, and also we have the electives. The core classes, we try to offer them every semester. We do our best. Depends on the enrollment. If the enrollment is low, we won't be able to offer it. But also, we try to offer as many classes as possible in the elective area. So you have to plan your degree plan very carefully. Now, here, for instance, this is what the information I'm showing you. This is for the spring 26, and this is from what is called coursebook. Now, what is beautiful about coursebook, which is, maybe in the past when I was a student that such a thing wasn't available, You can go to course book and you can type in the semester and year. You can go back and look at the historical data. So you can see how we have offered these classes, how we offering the electives, and plan your degree plan accordingly. So when you're filling out your degree plan, I really hope that you can sit down and look at all the electives and when you want to take them. And here I'm talking about the future. You might say, well, I don't have a crystal ball that works, but if you're trying to take certain course, let's say you're trying to take electronic, optical, and magnetic materials, obviously it's offered in spring 26, but you want to take it in spring 27. Okay, so that's your plan, is to take it then. Go look at the historical data. Was it offered every spring? Was it offered in spring 25? Was it offered in spring 24? So you can make an intelligent decision about what classes and when you want to take it. And the reason I'm pointing this out is that if you don't do that, if you choose to just put your courses that you want to take, you may run into a problem of not being able to take those electives when you want to take them. I understand for master's students, this is an issue because you're here year and a half, hopefully, maybe 2 years, hopefully within 2 years. So you don't want to get into a situation that you have to stay here an extra semester to complete your degree. That would be a disaster. And this also is the same situation for your elective core classes. Some students, for whatever reason, in the CE program, postpone their core classes because they want to take exciting courses that can get them internship. Okay, I understand people do all kinds of things. And then here comes the last semester here. They are missing one core class and it's not being offered. And you might say, well, that's crazy, but that situation comes up quite often. So please take your core classes first, have a degree plan that actually is meaningful and is consistent with the historical data that we have in the course book. Okay, so let's talk about some of the important issues, the handling holds that you have. And I don't know exactly what holds you're going to have on your file. And you can see that. And if they're academic holds, we can remove them. Joshua or Kimberly can remove that for you. As long as you have acknowledged the policies and you have gone through the orientation, you can remove them. There are holds, student health holds. You have to go through the TB test, and that happens when you're here. But I believe you can remove all the necessary holds to register for classes. So you can email us if you have an issue with your hold, and we'll be glad to take care of it for you. If you're a teaching assistant or research assistant, you have to go through some orientation when you get here. Also, ISSO has orientation of its own. So please check their website. They have a specific time that they offer these orientations. And I believe you have to be here for those. And that would be in December, January, I think January timeframe. Okay. By the way, I want to mention one more issue about getting visa and coming here. Technically, you have to be here by the census day. And you can look up what the census day is for spring 26. If you are not going to be here by then, you cannot get a visa, there is a delays, please don't wait. If you're getting close to it, ask us for the deferment of your admission. You can actually do that online on the Galaxy portal. You can request that, and then we will postpone it by one semester or whatever it is that you need to do. But this is a recurring problem. We have seen students having a hard time getting visa because once you get your I-20, that's not the end of the story. You have to go and schedule a visa appointment, and that sometimes is very lengthy in time. So please keep an eye on that time frame. Okay. Our academic calendar is here. You can look at online, you can Google it, academic calendar for spring 26, and look at all those dates for registration, for census day, for holidays. for when the classes begin and when classes end and the exam schedule. So that's a very useful calendar to look at. So we talked about a degree plan, and the first semester is done by us. We register you for first semester, and the following semester it would be done on your own. And then you have to have a final degree plan, and that's usually the problem. So what I would really encourage you, depending on how many semesters you're going to be here, but if you're planning to be here 3 semesters, and 10 classes, 3 semesters, how does that work? Well, in between there's a summer semester, so you can take 3 classes every semester and a class in the summer, and in a spring, fall scenario with a summer in between, you can finish in 3 regular semesters. So I would suggest that you work with your advisor in every semester as you modify your degree plan. Okay, and that will really create an environment that we can be successful and finish in time. PhD students have to fill out what's called milestone agreement. This is a form that you fill out and your advisor signs it. We want to make sure that you are on a correct journey toward your completion. Now, remember I mentioned something about 2 or 3 years. Well, those types of students typically do not have an issue. The issue is with the 8-year people who are taking research slowly. They have family issues, they have family problems, or they have health issues, and they're going fairly slow, and they're taking maybe 1 research class a semester. International students can't do that, but for domestic students, you're able to do that. But this milestone agreement is very important form, because that way we know if you're making the proper progress, and more importantly for you to get an idea if you're doing the right progress. We encourage you the early registration. This is important. Do not wait for the last minute. One of the issues with registration is that sometimes the classes that you're interested in are full, and this is sometimes for some classes is a common problem. So please register early. Okay, international student orientation, we talked about this. So this is a link for it. It's mandatory. This is pre-arrival, and then there are other resources for pre-arrival information. Please go to these links and take a look and see what needs to be done. UTD has a graduate student assembly, a lot of good information there. I would encourage you to visit this link. There are organizations. We have a diverse group of students here, so we have a variety of very interesting and very eclectic organizations that are very important in enhancing your experience at UTD. We want you to feel at home, and we understand that you are, from maybe a part of the world that may not be well represented here. But please understand this is a very international campus. We have people from all over the world, and we want you again to have a very productive experience. So visit some of these sites and then take a look at some of the organizations that we have, and they are growing. So this is not a complete list, and get engaged. That would be very important. Important issue about funding, TAs, RAs, and fellowships and scholarships. At this time, there are some changes over the horizon, but at this time, all RA positions are offered by the faculty. I don't offer it. The department doesn't offer it. The faculty does. So at the beginning of this presentation, I mentioned that you spend a lot of time trying to find a faculty advisor. So as you're contacting this faculty, ask them about if they have research funding available. Again, at this time, and this may change, teaching assistantship is also given by the department, but it's based on a recommendation of faculty. And each faculty gets 1 or 2 slots to recommend. So when you're talking to the faculty, ask them if they have a TA slot they can recommend you for. Without that recommendation, you won't get a teaching assistantship. So I want everybody to be clear about that. Just filling out the form is not good enough. And there is a deadline to when to apply and all that. TA and RAs must be physically present on campus. It cannot be remotely. No remote work is allowed for them. Even though if you are an RA and you can do research somewhere else, still you have to be present here physically. There are scenarios that research assistant has to visit a lab and your advisor is doing research with somebody in another lab and you have to actually be physically in another location. That is acceptable, and with permission it can be granted. But for all RANTs, they have to be here. Fellowship, we have scholarships and fellowships. Johnson School Dean's Graduate Scholarship, and then there's a Pathway to Research Scholarship. These scholarships are in a first come, first served basis. Again, that's a mistake here. It's not a fall 25, a spring 25. There is a deadline of April 18, but it is not, well, again, it's a deadline. Very often we award all these Johnson scholarships by February because the first come, first served basis. So please, when the portal opens in January, I believe, go ahead and submit for that. And I want to make sure that you understand that this is not for spring 26. The scholarship, the Dean's Scholarship is for the fall and the spring. So you will be applying for the fall 26 and spring 27. The scholarships for fall 25 and spring 26 have already been awarded. So, but you do need to apply early. And then there are other scholarships that you can apply for. Please spend some time, if this is something of importance to you, please spend some time and go through them. One thing is very important to point out that I understand that I'm talking to a lot of international students, and you need to get an I-20. And I-20 requires that you show financial, capability, either financial affidavit that says that you have first share of your studies here, which is a large amount of money, I think somewhere upward of $50,000, or you have a tier or a position. Scholarships, generally speaking, cannot replace that. For Johnson Scholarship, your tuition becoming state is $1,000 scholarship. So I-20 cannot be issued using any of these scholarship or fellowships. TA positions and RA positions can replace that. Can be for financial affidavit, they can replace that financial affidavit for getting I-20. And I'm sure there are a lot of questions here. Waiver of prerequisite. This becomes a very big deal. Very often you're trying to take a class here and the registrar flags you. He says, well, this requires a prerequisite as an undergraduate class, and whatever reason it doesn't let you register for the class. You need to file a form called request for waiver of prerequisites. You provide the course description that you have in your university back home or in another institution. Please have a, I guess in this case, catalog description. We prefer that you actually show what your university thinks this course is about, not necessarily the syllabus. And why am I saying that? Because a class that is from a given university has an official description in the website or in the course catalog they have. A particular instructor may have decided to teach the courses slightly differently and has covered things that are not necessarily in the course description. So that's why syllabus is not something that we appreciate. We appreciate that you send us the course description, the course number, and you fill out the form, and you can see some signatures are required. Is it possible to get an instructor for your graduate class to try to waive a prerequisite? We don't recommend it, but yes, it's possible. And this happens very exceptional cases. Here's an example. Let's say electromagnetics is a prerequisite for a course. electromagnetism is EE 4301. And this is prerequisite to a number of courses in a graduate program. So, but the instructor looks at you, and let's say you have 4 years of experience as a RF engineer working at Texas Instrument, for instance, or some other company. There is really no reason for you to have the prerequisite, so they can waive it. But it cannot be automatically waived. That's really important. It has to go through the process. Transfer of credit, we get this a lot. You can technically transfer only 25% of your graduate work. That amounts to 7.5 semester credit hour. It's kind of a strange. So essentially 2 classes. 2 classes you can transfer from other institutions, from your other places that you had the graduate classes. Well, PhD students get 30 semester credit hour transferred. Now, there is a situation called non-degree seeking. Your admission may have been non-degree seeking, and this is not for international students. If you're a master's student and you got admitted in that manner, you can take up to 5 classes, but no more, and be able to transfer it to your degree. And then for transfer of credit, please do that for your PhD. If you come here with a master's, it's a good idea to actually do that. The fact that you have a master's does not automatically mean you get 30 semester credit of credit. You need to do that so that you work your way toward the 75 hours for PhD students. Okay, the change of concentration area. It is possible. You can switch between them. Here's the issue that you may run into. If it is done in such a manner that would prolong your stay here in the United States beyond what is allowed. And I believe the way the visa is issued these days, master students get 2 years, no exception. So if doing this change results in you staying here more than 2 years, it may be an issue there. And also I want to point out that there is a difference between EE and CE. Even though you admitted to the ECE department, but you're admitted to a particular program. You're admitted to E or C. Going from E to C or back and forth, it is essentially you have to reapply to be admitted. And the reason is that the admission situation is different. For CE admission, we look at the student's background, we look at what courses they have taken, and do they have the prerequisites for the graduate classes. Same thing for EE. So if you have a CE undergraduate, want to get into EE program, if you have already been admitted, that's fine. But then you're in a CE graduate program and you want to switch to EE, there may be some issues there. So you do need to reapply. And we don't recommend that. We recommend that you do everything you can to get the proper admission and then go on from there, and then follow your degree plan. Okay, internship. This is of interest to a lot of students, but this internship has to go through the approval by ISSO, and then you can actually go to the link and read about it. There are some restrictions about what you can or cannot do. But as I mentioned, when you go into internship, you need to sign up for either EEGR 7010 or CE 7010. And we get formally credit for it. It's a 0 credit hour. You don't get any credit in that way, but it essentially allows you to do a free course because it's 0 credit hour. And this is a very critical part of your education. We believe doing internship helps you expand your knowledge, and that's why it is part of our degree. And there is no issue with immigration because they also recognize this to be an important part of your studies. I have some data here. Some of it is dated, but gives you a big picture. We send a lot of people to the internship, and you can see some of the numbers here. For years 2003, 2004, we had about 1,000. 62 people who did internships. Our ranking also has something to do with that. In our C program, among public universities, we are 31st, so we are tier 1, and third in the Texas public schools. E programs, we are in the 28th, the public universities, and third in the state of Texas. We have 13 IEEE fellow faculty. I think that number has gone up by 1, but so we have a very well-renowned faculty. I'm sure that you can figure this out by actually going to our website and reading the list of faculty and what they do and their accomplishments. I have not seen this list of companies in any other university, frankly speaking. Almost any company that you can imagine, all the Fortune 500, Fortune 50 companies have hired our students. Our students are go to many places and get internships, not necessarily in Dallas area. They go all over the country. And then once you graduate, most likely you end up working there. I personally have, I think, 3 PhD students, master's student and PhD who work at Qualcomm. And this is really outstanding because that's what the purpose of your education is. I know that immigration does not want you to migrate to this country, but that is not also at the same time the goal of the university. The university is to educate you, but also produce leaders in technology, future leaders in technology. Now, be here or in another country, doesn't really matter. That's what we are doing. You have an excellent opportunity to expand your education through internship and also eventually through employment. I have some fun data to look at. This is from the American Society Engineering Education Report, which 2019 is kind of dated. We are number 9 in terms of degree awarded, and the 5th for the PhD. And this information, by the way, comes from ICE in 2021. We are 2nd in the number of internship in the country. Now, these are kind of very impressive, and I think it's another piece of data that's for you, is that most alumni receiving green cards through U.S. Employers in 2021, and we were number 4. And I want you to see the number, the first 3, USC, University of California, UC Berkeley, and Carnegie Mellon. So I don't mind being number 4 in that list. So this is very impressive, right? Okay, so for computer accounts, that's something that you need to set up your accounts. And by the way, everybody must have a UTD email account. I believe everybody should have one. And we communicate with you through UTD email. I understand some of the invitations for your orientation went to your Gmail because that's the only email we had for you when you got admitted. But once you're here, and actually even before that, we will consider communicating with you with your UT Dallas email. And I want to warn to some of you, because I've seen people who missed very important deadlines, missed opportunities for internship because they were not monitoring their UT Dallas email. Please monitor and start using the email officially. We expect you to use UT Dallas email for all the communication with your advisor or any official communication. Please do not use Gmail. Okay, something about computer labs. We have computer labs here, but I really recommend that if you don't have a laptop of your own, please get one. We have a program that actually maybe we're winding it down, that we can loan you a laptop, but please have a laptop as you come into campus. This topic comes up, I need to talk about it, academic dishonesty and plagiarism. UTD takes this matter very seriously. So I have a 3-word for you: just don't do it. Don't do it. If you're engaged in any form of academic dishonesty, and you're discovered, there are serious consequences. Please read these links, go to these links and take a look at the community standards and conduct, what constitutes academic plagiarism. Very often people in other cultures, they have different approach to studying. They study together, they do homework together, they sometimes do projects together. Well, you have to understand what are the standards that your instructor has set. Very often the instructor will tell you, okay, you can work together on a project, but it's not. And the professor really points out that you're responsible solely for your work. Very often in the laboratories, in the electrical engineering laboratories, the same scenario happens. So if plagiarism occurs, there is a process. You'll be brought before a committee consisting of students and faculty. And if you're found responsible, that goes to your record for 5 to 7 years. Now, think about this. If you're a PhD student and you have plagiarism on your record, and it stays there for 5 years. Now, when you go to get a job, they do background check, and this will come up on the background check. Very hard to trust someone when there's academic dishonesty on their record. It looks very bad, right? And may even terminate your career. We have had the students at UTD that because of plagiarism, they were expelled from the university and then they had to leave the country. So it is a very serious matter. And you might say, well, what if I'm not sure? Very often your conscience tells you what is right or not, believe it or not. So if you think is wrong, most likely it is. But if you're not sure, I'm always available. You can always send me an email. Don't do it after the fact, but do it before the fact. I would love to talk to you about it and guide you along the way. But I'm sure that no one intends, sometimes unintentionally things happen. Something that you had done, the work you had done, someone wants to take a look at it, they look at it, copy it, and both people would be in trouble. So please go through this conduct, integrity, honesty, and conduct situation. All right. Some MSc students can, and this started in fall 25. Again, whatever reason, these slides were not updated for spring 26, but and this program was getting phased out. But if you really need a laptop, and please let us know, and we'll probably be able to loan you a laptop for the period you're a student here. Okay, so everything is paperless. Everything is going to be online, and now I'm sure you have not received a packet. So this bullet number 4 has not happened. We will send you a package that is going to contain all the slides that we just did, and some forms and course listing in the email. So again, if you have an RSVP to the web form, please write your name in the chat and we can go from there. Okay. Online resources, student web pages, and social media, we are present there, so please visit them, and they're very useful. Okay, so that's the presentation I had, so I'm going to stop right here, and I'm going to stop recording so we can answer some questions. All right. Okay, I stopped recording. Any questions?